Well, guys, Captain Cook here. So glad you could join me. Today we're going to do a video. I think it was back in January. I'd sent out on a giveaway some homemade, customized lures that I did. And these were 3D printed. The wire was cut, bent, installed by me. The colors were I made up and painted, and so these were the real deal. So I think I sent 4 of these out, and I sent these out for a reason. I sent these out to get tested, and I've had one person get back with me. Now this guy, Paul is from Key Largo, and I've known Paul for quite some time now. We met each other on a forum from another hobby that we do, pew pew, if you know what I mean. And myself and Paul have stayed in contact over the years. So Paul has been keeping me informed on how this lure I sent him has performed. So what we're going to do, I've got the emails right here, and we're going to read those to you and show you some pics and talk about Paul's experience with these lures. All right. So let's go ahead and start off. I don't think I'm gonna need my spectacles, but day one, this was Thursday, April 4th. Now I did this giveaway in January, and you know, getting them all painted and all that good stuff was it took some time after that, but this was Thursday, April 4th. So 7'2" spinning rod, 8-pound mono. All right, has nice weight to the lure, really like the size, casts pretty far on this setup. Great for schooling bass on a lake. I was fishing a very wide channel and could cast all the way across. On long hard cast, my sample drifted to the left nearly every cast. To test the setup, I tried a similar popper, and it casted true on every one with minimal drift either way. Overall, the popper had great action, had several small fish hit it without hooking up, unknown species. Did have a nice size freshwater tarpon roll up on it. However, he did not hit it. I did have one hookup, subtle bite, but he started pulling hard. After a couple of minutes of the fight, I knew it was a monster. As I got close to the bank, I saw it was a huge peacock bass, easily 24 inches and 8 pounds. It saw me, made one last head shake, and ran. Drag was screaming, and the fish was gone. Turns out the fish bent out the hook, and it came out. Guess you need stronger hooks. What size hook is on there? I'm going to order some stronger ones before my next outing. So it straightened out the hook, and you know, that's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for that feedback that's telling me what's wrong with it. Tell me what's right with it, but tell me what's wrong with it. And right here, I'm going to show you a picture of that straightened out hook. And it wasn't totally straightened out, but just enough to release that fish. As you can see, it did straighten out. Excuse me. Now, here's the second email I got from Paul, and this was on April the 15th, 2024. Not the best fishing conditions today. Only had a little time, tried 2 spots. Used different rod today. Is a spinning rod, 7 foot, 12-pound test. With the heavier test line, the lure still casts pretty far. Also continued to track to the left. I rotated the line a little to the right as you were looking at it. This helped with the tracking to the left. After a few adjustment tweaks, it now casts true with little to no drift. No hits from bass or peacocks at this spot, small lake. Tried a few other lures and had no hits at all. Fish were there, just not biting. Interesting enough, I did have a freshwater tarpon roll up on it again, like the first outing. It did not hit it, just rolled up on it. I find that strange, and I'm going with coincidental at this point. Second spot was a canal. I wanted to check wind conditions at. Still too windy to put the small John boat in. I did do some casting around, no interest from the bass or peacocks. I did have a small, maybe 14-inch snook attempt to hit it as I lifted the lure out of the water. Snook came almost all the way out of the water jumping at it. Hopefully the wind breaks soon, so I get out on the water in the boat. Alright, we'll go to Paul's third email, day 3. This was April 19th, 2024. Weather conditions were great, bright sunny sky, very light wind. Spinning rod was a 7-foot, 12-pound test, same as the last time. Put the John boat in the canal out of the Everglades. Late start, missing the morning largemouth bite. Peacock bass bite was just getting started. Slow start, no hits on top water. Switched to jerk bait and spinner bait and searched for areas with active fish. Once I found the active fish, I switched to your lure. The peacocks were on fire. Ultimately lost count of how many I caught on your lure, easily over 15, as several large fish strike at it so aggressively they flew clean out of the water trying to get it. One fish in particular struck at it 3 times within 10 seconds, unfortunately missing every time. I think they were hitting the head and missing the center hook. I started noticing all the hookups were on the center hook. Most of the peacocks were in the 12 to 14 inch range. I think the bigger ones are mostly on bed and not feeding right now. The largest peacock caught on your lure was a 15.5, picture attached. And we're going to show you this picture of that 15.5 inch peacock. All right, so there's that beautiful peacock bass. Okay, to go on with this day 3, 2 other incidental catches were a Florida gar that managed to wedge the back hook in its mouth and a Mayan cichlid. The Mayan cichlid came up and grabbed the back hook dangling in the water as the lure was just sitting there in the water next to the boat. Not sure when I will make it to Central Florida for more of largemouth bass bite. So far the peacocks seem to love it. The paint job at this point has taken a beating, started to chip away and scratch up, and I'll show you a picture of that. Alright, so as I explained to Paul, I was using an inferior flex coat, and it was just hard to work with, and evidently it was terrible. I've got a new flex coat now. It holds up great. I have fishing lures with it, and it holds up pretty good. So you live and you learn, and this is why I enjoy this. Alright, so let's go on to Paul's 4th day. That was on May 20th, 2024. Weather conditions are decent, bright sunny skies, pretty windy, temperature mid-90s, water temperature is 85.7, spinning rod 7-foot, 12-pound test, same as the rod last time. Was in Orlando this past weekend, made it out fishing Monday before I left. It was pretty choppy conditions for top water, threw the popper a while anyway. Ended up with 2 largemouth bass on the popper. First one was 1 pound 12 ounces, and the second was 4 pound 2 ounces. That makes 4 species have caught with it now. Peacock bass, Mayan cichlid, Florida gar, and the largemouth bass. And I'll pop some pictures up right here of Paul's largemouth bass down in Orlando. All right, so there you go, guys. First and foremost, I'd like to thank Paul for being diligent and giving me feedback, whether it be negative or positive. Positive feedback's always good, right? But you need that negative feedback to really hone your skill in what you're doing. You know, what I learned from Paul is the hooks I was using were too light. And what I learned from Paul is that fish like this. Also learned from Paul that my flex coat was crap, and it was, and I agree. I've since gone to probably the best flex coat you can buy on the market, and it really holds up well. So I'd like to thank Paul for his input. This is why I put it out there, to get that feedback. I don't care about negative, positive. It's all good feedback. Because you tell me what's wrong, I fix it. So I told Paul I'm going to send him another lure. Probably going to send him another one just like he's got. These 3D printed lures, a lot of work goes into these things, guys. A lot of work. And I found that if I had to sell one of these lures, it would just be astronomical. The price of it would have to be $25. Easy. So what I'm doing now, and I'll pop a picture up here in a second, I'm doing molded lures that are already molded. I get them, I paint them, I flex coat them, I put the hooks on them, I put whatever on them, and I'm going to send these out. So I'm going to send Paul one of those as well. But guys, this is information that is, I mean, you can't really do it yourself. I don't have a lot of time to go down and test out every lure. I fished with that one a couple of times and didn't even have it painted really. Just went to check the action of it. And when Paul was talking about it going to the left, I had the same issue. With 3D prints, it's hard to correct that. You'd have to go in and do a lot of stuff. So like I said, 3D printed lures are nice. You can say, hey, I made this myself, but it's a lot of work, a lot of sanding. It's just a lot of work. But guys, that's how my lure is doing. You know, I think it's doing well. I think it's doing very well. So guys, that's what I got. We're just checking out my homemade lure and seeing how it's working. Thank you guys so much for joining me. I appreciate you. I really do. You guys take care of each other, and I'll definitely get you guys on the next one.